So this is after the recording. I'd just like to say that this is a spoiler warning. There's going to be spoilers, a lot of big ones for Yu Yu Hakusho, and if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. I'm telling y'all now, watch it before this video. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get in the video. So, when I was making my shonen anime tier list, which is my most popular video on my channel now, by the way, thank you, I said this statement. But that shit is definitely not the best ever. Yu Yu Hakusho is pretty overrated. I also said later on that every anime in the S tier has a unique factor about them. This show has just that, with such a unique cast of characters, arcs, and even the overall themes vary throughout the show. The show starts off as this fun battle anime where it's completely black and white concerning who's bad and who's good, then just dissipates into this morally gray area between the actual villains in the Chapter Black arc. But before I go too in depth, I'd like to go over these amazing characters who have now become my favorite cast. Starting off with Yusuke, he's now my favorite shonen main character of all time, which was a title that used to belong to Gon Freaks, which they both belong to the same creator, which, you know. From Hunter x Hunter, Yusuke is at first a complete delinquent who gets into trouble and doesn't have a whole lot of people to care about him, besides Keiko, or so it seemed to him. After Yusuke's death, he gets the opportunity to come back to life and see his funeral. And the amount of grief it brought on to everyone, he realizes how much he means to everyone and goes from wanting to die to do anything to protect his body. Well, almost anything. Yusuke sacrificed coming back to life in order to save Keiko from the fire by throwing his spirit egg, in turn messing up his opportunity to come back to life for good. Koenma gave him another chance because of his selfless act, and Yusuke realized how meaningful life was by the time he came back. He comes back as the new spirit detective and at first is reluctant and doesn't want to do it, but over time he realizes that saving his friends and family is worth continuing the job. Yusuke's character development is so damn good and goes through so many twists and turns. His personality and beliefs shift so much that he even becomes one of the Demon Kings, when at first he just saw all demons as evil. Moving on to Hiei, I'm going to start making these character analyses more brief, just because the video is going to be crazy long if I don't. Anyway, Hiei is often compared to Vegeta, but this clearly isn't true because Hiei actually wins fights. Anyway, Hiei is definitely my favorite character in the show, and he has the best character development apart from Yusuke. He goes from this demon who just wants the human race dead to someone who will put his life to avenge his human friend in a fight he knows he can't win. Shinobu. He even goes as far as destroying the Chapter Black tape to keep the humans safe because he realizes there are some worth protecting. Now, on to Kuwabara. He is a man with a moral code, and this makes him feel more human than anyone in the cast. He isn't a tactical fighter and isn't insanely smart either, but he has the most heart and willpower in the group and will keep fighting and fighting in order to protect others. Kuwabara is a common trope that is explored in anime, just done a lot better in my opinion. Kurama is probably my least favorite character in the crew. I don't dislike him or anything, but every episode centered around him was just kind of boring to me. I think his character is just kind of boring to watch on its own, but I love his interactions with the crew. He's the first character in the show to show us the morally gray area between demons and humans, when he was gonna sacrifice himself for his human mother. And now let me get more in depth between this morally gray area idea that I've been talking about this whole video. The morally gray area between humans and demons is shown in the Chapter Black arc, when Shinobu talks about how he saw humans torturing demons and realizing humans aren't any better at demons at the end of the day. This makes him resign as spirit detective after realizing that humans are basically what he's been fighting this whole time, figuratively at least. This entire Chapter Black arc is what made me really start liking Yu Yu Hakusho, because it went from a one-dimensional story to a multi-layered story with so many themes. So, for the reasons I've talked about, I was wrong about Yu Yu Hakusho. It's an S tier show for me now, and I absolutely loved watching it. And thank you for watching. See y'all next time.